in season 2. We're gonna give you an entree, a delectable dessert, and an appetizer, y'all. Here on something we like to call, we're gonna give you an entree up. I'm gonna have to find the bell because I lost the bell.
We can't order without the bell.
Yeah, you can't order without the bell. He'll order up. Just a little something mellow for the masses.
Nice and smooth.
A little short ditty.
Yeah.
I did that on my latest piece.
All right.
The MPC 1 standalone controller. And we out. What's happening, man?
What's going on, man?
Ain't nothing to it, man. Show number 2.
Show number 2 of 23.
In 2023, the place to be. Hey, look, man, we got a jam-packed show today, and it's all going to be centered around sports.
All right. Yeah, it's about that time. About that time.
It's about
Playoffs.
that time. Playoffs. Yeah, man. So we got to figure out how to get all this stuff going. We're live today on YouTube, live and direct on YouTube today.
Right.
And we want folks to really get to know us this year and follow us on YouTube. You can subscribe to our YouTube page, which is Order Up with Rayu Beats and Reggie Wright. We'll post in our different mediums and chats and all that type stuff. This is in our all access section right now because we're wide open for that. And we're just excited, man. We're excited about what 2023 is going to get into. But I'm even more excited to talk about our first topic and our appetizer today. And then I got, the delectable dessert today, y'all going to fall out with. Y'all going to fall out.
Yes.
Because your boy, it's some funny stuff. But it's all good. Life is good, man. Life is good. I got to have lunch with Reggie today. So he's on the other side of the world in Maryland. And I'm on this side of the world in Maryland, but I scooted out to him today. That's why he's in the bright lights, because I gave him his Christmas present.
That's it. I'm in the bright lights today. I'm so glad you didn't say the cities.
Nah, I don't want the stalkers. I don't want the stalkers or the haters to come because I know you keep your jump by the door, and I keep mine on the bedroom too.
Don't start none.
Nightstand.
Don't start none. Won't be none.
Well,
let's just say it may not be a good idea to run up on.
ever. Y'all listen to show number 2, Concealed Carry last week, right? Woo! Pound the bell. Yeah. Look, man. I want to start out with our appetizer. The best news I heard today, like I said, it's going to be around sports, but the best news I heard today came out of Buffalo, New York.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
I concur. Man. Great, fantastic news.
Fantastic news. And to anybody who understands where we are in our walk in life, we joke, I curse more than Reggie, a lot more than Reggie. But we believe in God in all his glory. And,
Yeah.
and all I can say is nothing but God.
Nothing but God. To God be the
Nothing but
glory.
God. God be the glory. With that news that came out of it, it probably broke around 11 a.m., 12 o'clock today.
Mm-hmm.
And
Man.
Damar,
Yes.
the safety for the Buffalo Bills has been released from, I guess it's Buffalo General Hospital Center.
Mm.
He was cleared by the medical staff there, the cardiologists and neurology medical staff there, to go home and continue his rehabilitation at home and with the Buffalo Bills organization.
Wow, that is so incredible and fantastic.
Now, here's what I want to unpack with this. Where we are in technology, preventive health, because these athletes are at the top of they're human specimens as far as how they take care of their bodies, health wise, their diets, everything. So they're better than me, who's on cholesterol medicine and high blood pressure medicine, and eating too much sugar and stuff like that. But their bodies are their temples and their tools to make that
to make their livelihood.
Their livelihoods, and what they fought for and are willing to give their life for, as you heard the expression. And he did give his life for 10 minutes, roughly. I won't say 10 minutes exactly, but however long he was without a heartbeat. And he was on the other side. But from that point, utilizing medical techniques, technology, and everything else, and sustaining him so there's two type of ambulances. And my daughter is a paramedic EMT, or she's a certified now paramedic EMT, but she's a medical student now. So she switched out of the ambulances, and she's, now working in a hospital as a certified medical assistant, and she assists in surgeries and all the prep and administrative stuff that does that while she's full-time student in school. But when she graduated high school, she was in a program in high school that allowed her to become an EMT during the pandemic, because she graduated in the pandemic class just like myself in 2021. And I'm sorry, 2020. The pandemic hit in 2020. I'm sorry. She graduated in 2020, and I graduated in 2021. But when that fall, she was doing basic paramedics. So there's two type of ambulances that you see. There's a basic life-saving ambulance, and then there's an advanced life-saving ambulance. And at most stadiums, they have the advanced paramedics and life-saving ambulances, and they're rigged differently, different equipment and things like that. And the nature and the training of those people are like really high caliber for both sets, because she had one more certification and a series of training she had to go to before she was going to become an advanced paramedic. But because of the pandemic and the stress that came with it, she decided to step back from that and go into the hospital. And she did that in concern for her family, because she lives at home with us, and she knows I have pre-existing health conditions. And she just didn't want to bring it home, because they went from transporting rehab patients to 100% COVID transporter patients. And, we remember vividly that the first responders didn't have the right equipment, all that type of stuff, the shortages for masks, gloves, all that type of stuff. So she was like, nope. She made a command decision. And my daughter's very grounded. And it takes a special person to be a first responder, and at that level of life-saving and going into situations and scenes like that and saving people's lives. So she, in that process, broke it down to me on everything that goes on with the life-saving processes at the basic level and at the advanced. And those advanced paramedics, because they acted within their training and they prepare for this stuff, man. It's not like, this is their job. So, Reg, we in IT, you know how we can run SQL queries and test applications and do that stuff with our eyes closed. Saving lives to them is on many levels a process that they work diligently to do and be excellent at, because it is life-saving. So you think about it, like if we screw up on a thing, it could, if we let a bug go into production, depending on the type of system, it could kill somebody. But everything they do is life or death,
right?
As an EMT and first responder and things of that nature. So it takes a special level of mental that the average person doesn't have, because that's a high stress situation. And those ladies and gentlemen reacted. I commend the first responders in Cincinnati that were on duty at the game, because most of the time they're just chilling at the game, enjoying the game. But they were called into action, and because they reacted in that 10-minute period on the field and didn't give up on that boy.
Right.
And then because he was in an advance, I'm pretty sure he was in an advanced life-saving ambulance that was equipped to handle those situations and sustain somebody who is within cardiac arrest and needs oxygen and needs their heart to be pumping with certain things, and the adrenaline and the medications and the everything that they had to shoot him up with to keep his body on point at a level, the adrenalines and all that type of stuff. I'm assuming that's what happened. I'm not 100%. I wasn't in the ambulance, but I'm saying I know I've taken a couple of rides in ambulances, being in motorcycle accidents and car accidents and stuff like that. I had a head-on collision, so I was in an advanced life-saving ambulance in my life, and they're like many hospitals. They have everything that's in the ER in that truck that you see running up and down the streets. So two things. Next time you see a paramedic, folks, and you out there on these streets, just say thank you for the work that they do, because these people, they study medicine. They have to pass a series. They have to pass national level bar medical exams for life-saving to become, to deal with medical emergencies. Because that's their title, medical emergency technicians, EMT. So, I commend that part of the situation. And then when they got to the hospital, the advances in technology and where we are to sustain life and keep people, they immediately induced them. I don't know if they immediately induced them, but they induced them so that they could sustain him. You know what I'm saying? So he was unconscious so that his body could reset and catch up and do all the things that the body has to do to heal. See, folks, we're not born to die. We're born to live forever. We were built to live forever. And the body fights to live. And it has reset mechanisms. But sometimes those things get out of sync. And medical technology is catching up with understanding how to sustain it till it becomes back in sync. And that's God. That's God inspiring people to create these devices, this technology and all that. You can, that's just how I see it in this scenario as a person of faith. That is nothing but God.
Right.
What you got on that, bro?
Yeah,
I'll
man.
pause. I've been running my gym for about 15 minutes.
No, that's all right. Now you just pointed out just the great medical, the medical experts, the job that they did. It literally saved a life. And that's worth, you can't put a price or a value on that. And just phenomenal job that they did. And just to hitch on to the last part you talked about is the faith aspect. When we initially talked about this, I said this this gentleman has millions of people praying for him, the whole country praying for him, and you said, yeah, even the whole world. I mean, he literally, I would imagine, had, millions of people praying for him and his recovery, and it is quite miraculous. It's quite joyous, the outcome.
Yeah.
Just to know that he has seemingly physically recovered, but neurologically seems to be intact. And what a testimony, as we would say. What a testimony. And I wonder the impact it has on his life going forward.
Mm-hmm.
But just for that few minutes or for a few days, or at least that Monday night game, it no longer mattered whether we were male or female, black or white, Democrat or Republican, rich or poor. All of the things that divide and separate us, that prevents us from being unified, that prevents us from loving one another. All of those things seem to not seemingly matter. And a person's life, even football didn't matter, which
Mm-hmm.
we will be going into today in the show. But even football didn't matter. And it that situation kind of unified us as a nation. No matter our ethnic background or our party affiliation or our financial status or educational level, we just cared about the well-being of another human being.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And I mean, from the commentators to everybody that had an opportunity to speak on it on, social media, everything, it's just been pray for him, pray for him.
Yeah.
There's much power in prayer, and
Yes.
the fact that he's home,
Yeah.
you
Fully
know,
functioning. I mean, just
he
functioning.
he still got a long
Well,
way to go, but
well,
he home. He
right,
home, dog. He's sleeping
right,
in his bed tonight.
right, right,
He's sleeping in his bed tonight.
right. So he's
Boy,
recovering.
if he show up at that game,
It was I don't know if you saw, but the opening kickoff of their game, the gentleman ran it back. He ran it back for a touchdown.
No, how about 2 times during the game he ran it back?
But that opening moment,
How about the
where
time? It's 3 years and 3 months since that's happened.
right. But I think that opening moment, especially probably for the Bills fans, and that was
And
just
Bills Nation, yeah.
and Bills Nation. That just had to be
It sent a chill
quite
down my,
incredible.
know,
Yeah, yeah.
it sent a chill down my spine. So
And the
yeah,
unity of all the players that were wearing shirts in support of him, shirts and coaches, players
entire
and coaches were
Mhm.
wearing their shirts in support of him, and then him um, to reach out, I guess, through social media to some degree to the receiver that he was involved with, because
They were
unfortunately
people were
were
blaming him and gave
blaming him.
death
Yeah,
threats, right?
yeah, giving him death
Death
threats. So
Mm-hmm.
it was just a wonderful, I guess, unified moment, of us just
Mm-hmm.
loving one another.
Mm-hmm.
What imagine, if we could operate that like that consistently.
Yeah, in such a
It would be wonderful.
macho game and situation. Uh it was amazing. It was amazing. That's all I can say. Um I'm so thrilled at what happened out of that situation, man. So
Yeah,
that's the first part of the appetizer. Like I said, it has to deal with sports, but that's the best news I've heard all day.
right.
Um, we can really speak to the there's a lot of good dudes in the NFL and in pro sports altogether. You got to be a special person to be a pro athlete. There's usually, I would say it's less than 1% of the people that's in the industry just because they're freakishly good that they're jerks. But most people are people of character. They have foundations. They may come from single family homes, but they know who God is and they believe in God, and God is real in their life because of everything they had to. I would say 90% of the players. You have some nut jobs that's in sports, but for the most part, most of these cats are good, upstanding people. And it's a brotherhood, and it's the only league that I've seen, where the white black thing gets put to the side when they're in between them lines. You know what I'm saying? You can, when I post, and from a racist standpoint, I can say this, in basketball, when a brother posts up on a white boy, he like, I'm taking it to you. In football, it's not like that. It's basketball is a team sport with a lot of individuals. Football is a team sport, period. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you could have one or two good players on a basketball team that you could run an offense through. And, defensively have some defensive player and role players to counter those offensive players. Not to counter, but to support those offensive players on the other side of the ball. Because most offensive players don't really play defense. A couple of exceptions, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan in that era. But in today's era, they don't in basketball. It's a highly offensive game. Nobody played defense in basketball. And that's why we have 145. That used to be a rarity when there was a 145-point game. But getting back to football, which is the center of our topics, theme today, we have the playoffs starting this weekend, and it's going to be interesting. And as we get through the show, we'll talk about the playoffs and stuff like that. But I want to segue into the entree instead of the appetizer. So I'm calling the audible. We're going into the entree because there are 16 teams that made the playoffs in the NFC and the AFC total. Reggie, how many teams are in the playoffs?
That's a good question. I'm not totally sure. I'll tell you in a second, though. Okay. Yeah. But it gets popping when Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one team that isn't playing Saturday.
One team that isn't playing Saturday. I would say two teams that aren't playing Saturday. No. Two teams that aren't playing this weekend. The Washington Commanders and the Dallas Cowboys. Because the Cowboys, they fool's gold too.
Yeah, 14 teams. 14 teams.
Yeah. So 14 teams, 7 in the AFC, 14 teams each. I'm sorry. 28 teams are playing, right?
No,
is that it?
It would be 14 teams total. It's 14
playing.
Teams total.
Okay.
Yeah.
How is it an odd number? Because
the wild
is that
card.
This week you talk about this? You talk about for the wild card.
I'm talking about their team in terms of overall teams in the playoffs.
I'm talking about the playoff.
The playoff
entire playoff seeding.
Yeah, this weekend or overall?
Overall.
Yeah, it's 14 teams. Yeah, 14. 14. Yep.
It's an odd number. Yeah, 7 and 7. Yeah, 7 teams are making it. Yeah, now I got it. 14 teams total. Woo! I had a big lunch. I went to PF Chang's, man.
Okay.
I had the full entree of orange chicken. The bartender, he knew you. It was a white guy there.
What's the name?
I think it was Rob or something like that.
Oh,
He wasn't a Commander fan. He was from Orlando. It was somebody else.
That's not my guy. Yeah, that's not my guy.
Yeah, but he said he knew who you were.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He might. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we rapped a little bit. We talked about Jacksonville because they in it. They wanted the 7, lucky 7, or squeaked in 7, however you want to put it. Right. But they trending up. So you can be the 7 seed and be dangerous. Yeah. Pittsburgh proved that. And during the buses, weren't they the 7 seed and came all the way and won the Super Bowl with Tomlin and Jerome Bettis? Yeah.
I believe that has happened before. Yeah.
I think they were the first. I believe. But we don't have a stat guy yet.
Shout out to Coach Tomlin. I mean, the excellent coaching job he did.
Level of excellence. Yeah. Yeah. But he won't get looked at for Coach of the Year. We already know that.
Unfortunately.
Even though he should. Because he's never had a losing season.
Never had a losing season.
Now, which gets us back to our fool's gold. We're in the off season. There's so many levels to unpack with this. I've been listening to, my favorite people to listen to is B Mitch, his show. Because he give it to you raw. He a dude like me. Yeah. Is Louisiana gumbo. I support B Mitch. We got to try to get him on the show. B Mitch, I support you. I smoke your cigars, all that stuff. I support you. So come on the show, man.
Much love to B Mitch. Yeah.
Yeah, and rap with us. I ain't gonna mess your brand up. I promise. I'll be on my best behavior. But I like rapping with that dude. I met him once out in Fairfax when they were doing the shows out there in Fairfax. And this was right after he retired, several years back. But I really like his honesty.
Yeah.
He's a real brother. And he comes from that winning tradition that we know about. And he talks about, he has the same feeling that we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're in the off season. The first thing that's going to happen in the off season is Bloody Monday, right? Or Black Monday, or whatever they call it is, where the coaches get fired. They didn't even wait for Monday for Lovie Smith. Right. They fired Lovie Smith after he walked off the stage in the press conference.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, damn.
But I think, did Lovie get it as an interim, or was he on interim?
He was a coach. They hired him.
Okay.
They hired him. He's the second coach they fired in 2 years. So,
well, they got the number 1 overall pick. So they didn't have. No,
they didn't.
Yeah, the Texans.
Last year.
Oh, they have it this year too.
No, Chicago. They lost it because they won the game.
Oh yeah, they won the game. That's right. I do apologize. Yeah, they won the game. You're right. So now Chicago. You're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 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 So Lovey's out. There's about 5 coaching vacancies, I believe. There's not a coaching vacancy here for the head coaching position, but there's an offensive coordinator coach vacancy. Now, here's what I want.
At least not yet.
At least not yet. But historically, when new ownership comes, they like to clean house.
Exactly.
Now, the only reason I say they might not is because by the time this deal gets done, if Snyder don't fire him now,
right,
then you're gonna miss the coaching carousel time where you can pick up a coach. You're gonna miss the the free agency market and trade deadlines and getting your war room together for the draft. Because the sale will probably, if a lot of the prognosticators say that the sale will be April, May.
Yeah, that's very late in the game.
fast track, and that's late in the game when you're playing your off season. So, because that only leaves you like 90 days before football starts, the first preseason game.
Right.
So,
I
so
think
more than likely, and because everything, the buck stops with Ron, he's the front office and the coach, head coach, they probably won't disrupt that. You know, they'll probably give him this year, maybe. It just depends on who buys the team. I don't know the front runners. It's still quiet. It's kept about who it is. They say Bezos is his team to buy. I'm not sure about it, for the taking, but I'm not sure. I know he's got enough money to give Daniel Snyder whatever he wants to.
That he does.
To
Whatever's asking
bypass
for.
his hate.
Yeah.
But as far as anything else, I don't know. When it comes to that, I don't know. So, yeah. So
Hopefully the sooner the better.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the sale of the team, Washington Commanders, so they can sell the team, they can change the name, they can clean house and get a whole new front office and a whole new coaching staff, and hopefully begin to usher in a new era that is reminiscent of the Cook Gibbs era. We need to totally bypass the Snyder era. Forget about it. 100% forget about the Snyder era.
Right. So they fired the offensive coordinator. Let me switch over.
Yeah. You need a clapping. You got a clapping.
That's why I said I got to switch over.
Or you got a hallelujah, or you got to thank you, Jesus, or something.
That's the first thing that we wish for, right?
There's no well-kept secret on how I felt about the offensive coordinator.
In a large swath of the nation, of Commanders Nation. But the fact that he came with Ron Rivera, who's done a terrible job. Y'all can say what you want.
The record speaks for itself. The record speaks for itself. He's done a terrible job.
He got fired from North Carolina because he was doing a terrible job. Snyder hired him here to change the culture. In that aspect, you can't change the culture when the culture at the top that signs your check is messed up.
Exactly. The cancer is at the top.
And that's what Cat says. You know, when you're on both sides of it, you know where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah, buddy.
When you're on the football side and you're on the owner side,
the fuck I'm supposed to do if both sides is the dumb side?
Well said, Cat.
That one we gonna be able to use in a lot of situations. But yeah, man, when you dealing with, you know, the worst thing you can do is have a coach that's a decent coach, but he ain't a GM.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, coaches think they can fix everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And wasn't he largely, I believe they largely gave him the helm as far as personnel decisions, maybe at least up until this past. I know Martin Mayhew, I think, was brought in this past season, but I think prior to, I think Coach Rivera had a large say in the personnel decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So, and actually the personnel decisions have somewhat improved compared to the Vinny Serrato era and all of those free agent spending that we used to do.
Mhm.
The some of the picks have been better.
Right.
But we definitely know coaching staff is definitely under his ability to assemble and choose, and clearly
Right.
he chose an ineffective person to be the offensive coordinator. Not trying to take shots, just the numbers speak for themselves. When you're 25th in scoring, how many teams in the NFL? They're 32. So
Right.
you're 25th.
And everything they've done has been middle of the road,
Yeah.
just enough to keep their jobs and fire a couple of people, but keep their job. And here's the funny thing: if you'd have told me, because either in March or May, they gave that Bama a 3-year extension as offensive coordinator.
This is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
And don't they have to pay him that if they fire him?
I would imagine he probably
that
probably wrote
parachute.
it into his
Mhm.
deal. I would imagine he wrote it into his deal. But when you say that,
Because I know what's his name had it in his deal.
yeah,
Mike Shanahan.
Mike Shanahan, he that his last year he got his $7 million sitting at home.
Yeah.
But what did Scott Turner? What did he do to
What they
merit
do to
the
warrant
extension?
that?
Nothing.
Yeah.
It was nothing that he did
how
to warrant it.
If he was that great, what did he do to get fired several months later? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Because the locker room turned on him, obviously, and people probably went to the front office and said,
Well,
"Man, when you have a 2-to-1 ratio where you're running the ball, throwing the ball, and you don't want to have a revolt, you got to appease them and throw somebody to the wolves, and he's the one that got thrown to the wolves." Now, first and foremost,
yeah,
I don't care because I thought he was a terrible coordinator.
Yeah,
he was a loser when he was at North Carolina, and he was a retread that was brought up here off of the
old coaching staff.
And
his father was there, and his father was there initially.
And his father wasn't a good. His father had a good run in San Diego or wherever he was, but he didn't have a good run here.
One of the worst coaches ever in the Washington organization.
And the
record speaks
all
for
the
it.
All the white pundits are defending him.
Yeah. Yeah, because they don't. Yeah, because
Santana Moss,
who defending who?
Mitch
Turner?
Not.
Yeah. Well, how can you defend somebody? At the end of the day, right? What is the game? What is the NFL about at the end of the day?
You play to win the game.
So at the end of the day, it's about results.
Right? Results and winning.
Remember when Bruce Allen made one of the most hilarious statements when discussing the Washington organization? He said, we're winning off the field.
Winning off the field.
Winning off the field. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
So the purpose of the Washington Commanders organization is to win off the field.
That's all.
The results are, in the words of the late Dennis Green,
we are who we thought.
Yeah. And Scott Turner's record is what we have to examine him by.
Right. Because he didn't do nothing in North Carolina but lose for the time that he was there. So what merits that covenant position, not only of being an offensive coordinator, but an offensive coordinator and a play caller? Because the majority of the league now is trending where the coaches are the play callers.
Right. Like Andy Reid.
During the game.
Like Andy Reid, unfortunately, with our guy who can't get a job He doesn't get a
Mhm.
head coaching job, but he's the offensive coordinator. But true, Andy calls the plays. But you're right. There are some scenarios where coaches have an offensive coordinator, but they call the plays. But here, Scott Turner was both the offensive coordinator who called the plays. Look at where the Washington offense has ranked within the past, 3 seasons under his reign. And you cannot say that they had success, period. I.e., to me, is a season or two too late.
Yeah. Yeah. Always a day late and a dollar short.
we are always that. A day late and a dollar
And,
short.
and well under our cap, but he ain't know what to do with it. And this is the thing. You can tell, last year, I didn't expect much because he was dealing with cancer, and that your life is your priority, right? Was it last year or year before last?
I think it might have been last year.
So
Possibly
he was going
year
through
before last. I think it was last year though. Yeah.
It made a blended into two.
It was very
The two.
courageous how he fought the battle of cancer, and he still
Absolutely.
I mean, we're not speaking to
And he's not
him
the
as
first to do that. He's not the first to do that. The coach for there have been several coaches that have done it and survived. The coach for
I remember years ago the
Colts.
coach in he in Annapolis. Yes, he did it as well. Yeah, I was getting ready to say him.
Yeah.
And let's make it clear, we're not talking about the man.
Not the man.
Ron
No,
Rivera.
we're talking about the coach.
We're talking about the coach.
Right. But people will use that as a pass. I'm not giving you a pass on, I'm not saying that because you have cancer, I'm going to hang you from the gallows that season. But I understand if he wasn't 100% there.
Right.
But he put a courageous effort to do that. And I commend that. But this year, you made a lot of bad decisions. This year, you chose to succumb to Daniel Snyder's. You could have got fired at the beginning of the season. You could have stood on the courage post and said, no, I'm not doing this. Because everything trended towards tooling to be a offensive passing team. The hiring of Wentz, supposedly. The loading of the receiving core, all of that. Now, yeah, you got a dog. You had a dog in the running back thing. But here's the thing. The 2 seasons before then, you took a prolific wide receiver and turned him into a running back in Antonio Gibson, which doesn't make sense because he had a couple of good games in the Cotton Bowl and against I forgot who he played, Penn State and somebody else, where they ran that pro style backfield, and he cracked a couple of big plays. In y'all infinite wisdom, y'all gonna take somebody who's a receiver, who's really good at wide receiver, who probably was a good slot receiver at his size, and try to turn him into a running back. Doesn't make sense.
Probably not the best move.
Doesn't make sense. And then you tool your offense with people in skilled positions, the mic back, and you ain't got no depth at the mic back, right? And I wasn't too keen on the linebacker, middle linebacker that they had as our middle linebacker. He had a decent season, but his history was not to be healthy. And we lost him less than a quarter into the season. And then our rookie had to grow up, and it's never a good time for somebody to start. But, if you'd have told me, so that's front office decisions, player allocation. I was listening to a commentator, and I gotta reconstitute. I gotta cop what they stole. When Philly, when we whipped Philly's ass this season, what did Philly go out and do? When we ran all over Philly, what did Philly go out and do? The very next day, they went and got a Ndamukong Suh off the wire. They made adjustments. What is this team notoriously not good for since Joe Gibbs has left?
No, we don't make adjustments.
Front office adjustments or
Player
in-game
personnel or
on-field
in-game.
adjustments, player personnel adjustments.
No, doesn't happen.
They cut a good player because he spoke truth in this organization about the dysfunction and about him being unhappy because, you know, all of the coaches are playing 1983. We're going to run the ball, football. We're going to be a run first team. That's not how the NFL works. Is Kansas City a run first team?
No.
Is Buffalo a run first team?
No. Their quarterback is their leading rusher.
Yeah. Yeah. Their quarterback and the rookie quarterback that we had last week that spanked Dallas ass, which we'll get into in a minute. Dallas fans, if you online with us now and you see us online, we had our left hand up and brought it down hard as we spanked y'all ass Saturday. But we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
Our rookie quarterback that finally got in looked like Allen.
Got in because of Taylor Heineke telling them to put him in.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? Not because they made a decision to evaluate it. The other quarterback,
which would have been a
that
smart
has
thing.
been playing bad, said put him in.
Which would have been a smart organizational thing to do, but apparently
They're not smart, ladies and gentlemen. They're not smart. They're a sad saxophone.
I didn't catch 2 weeks ago, but some said that Rivera was he was unaware that the loss, what was it, the Giants loss? It was
Knocked
2 weeks
us out of
ago. It was he was unaware that loss.
We were eliminated.
Yeah, they said during the press
He
conference.
tried to pedal
during the
back
post.
that he was being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Even the fact that you made that statement, even if you were being sarcastic, shows us how woefully unprepared you were. So, to do a press conference. Yeah, the job of the press is to needle you, dude. You get paid 7 figures. Deal with it. You survived cancer. You can't deal with a question from a nerd in glasses? And I'm talking about a fat, roly-poly nerd. So, I don't know. We're in for such a tumultuous off season. But I hope the slate gets cleaned with new ownership. That's going to be your birthday present, Kwanzaa's present, anniversary present, Christmas present, every present. When that team gets sold, dude.
Yeah.
Because here's the stat that you have to understand about Daniel Snyder, who didn't even show up to the last game of his team during Dallas week. Wasn't even in the stadium. Then checked out.
Didn't show up to the last one.
When he purchased the team, it was the most profitable NFL franchise in the NFL as far as ticket sales. Not, the brand was there. Dallas has always
Dallas
had
number one.
Number one.
As far as
it was but the top 3 branded teams in 1999 were the New York Yankees, the Dallas Cowboys, and this was the order: New York Yankees, Dallas Cowboys, and Washington Redskins from a brand standpoint. Real talk.
Yeah, facts.
Ticket sales.
Yeah.
The day he bought the team, gave up my season tickets. Got off the waiting list.
Smart man.
Because my family had season tickets and I would go to the game. I stopped going to the games.
Smart man.
I was next in line to get the tickets. And I took myself off the waiting list. Ladies and gentlemen, the waiting list in 1999 for the Washington Redskins was a 20-year waiting list.
Yes, it was. And I was on that list. I think I might have been 86,000, something like that on the list.
Something crazy. Something crazy. Right? In 2023, 24 years later, this season, they only sold 400,000 tickets for the 8 home games. The Washington Commanders are the worst ticketed sales team in the NFL.
In the entire NFL.
In the entire NFL. They went from first to worst. That's Daniel Snyder's legacy.
That's his legacy.
That's the one stat y'all got to understand about that rat bastard. He took a storied franchise in its glory, that's something sacred to a community, that brought a community together on Sundays. If you had on a red, I don't care if you were a redneck from Mechanicsville to a thug in Northwest or Anacostia, you would dap each other up if you were walking down the street and y'all both had on Redskin gear. Am I lying, Reggie?
No.
Am I lying?
100%.
You would acknowledge each other. You would see each other. That's how much football meant and means to this fan base.
Yes.
We are an educated, supportive fan base.
It would lead off the 6 o'clock news.
Yes. And this fool can't even pack the stadium. And the reason he can't pack the stadium is because he has a shitty product on the field and game day experience.
Yeah.
I've been to many stadiums. What did we say when you and I were at the Raiders game last November? And we were in Alliance Stadium for the first time, and we got there rocking Too Short, and Run DMC was the halftime show, and we were in the suite section, chilling, saying, looking at marble floors.
Yeah. It was quite impressive, to say the least. It was quite impressive.
Now, mind you, FedEx Field, which was originally called the Jack, was a decent stadium for 1998 when it was built, 1996, 97 when it was built.
Right. Somewhere
It was
that.
a decent stadium,
Yeah.
outdoor stadium. But Jack and Cook was cheap. Right?
Mhm.
But on the level, this dude got money. He owned that land. He didn't need the money from the county and the state to build it. They want that money. That man could have built that stadium his own damn self, as rich as he is. What's his net worth?
Who, Snyder?
Yeah.
Who?
Anywho, my point is Alliance Stadium, it costs how many billion the bill? SoFi Stadium, how many billion the bill?
I'm not sure. Dan Snyder's net worth, I believe, is $4.9 billion.
$4.9 billion. He could float $2 billion and still be okay generationally for a couple of generations for what he would make back off of that stadium, with it being in the nation's capital from a venue standpoint.
Yeah.
That's how bad a businessman he is.
I
don't know much, but I know about these here streets, and I know this transient city people would show up just because it was an event. It was a play. It would be the play. RFK was the place to be, dog.
Man, the Rockin' Stadium. It was the place to be.
Crappy
Legendary.
old throwback
Legendary.
stadium.
Legendary.
But it was the place to be. Politicians, actors, entertainers. Everybody was at RFK, dog.
Allegiant cost $1.9 billion to build.
It has marble floors, ladies and gentlemen, in the suites.
Super Bowl will be
Granite
hosted
and
there.
marble countertops in the suites.
Mhm. The Super Bowl will be hosted there next season.
And how much is SoFi? SoFi got to be maybe 5. And that's the next one we got to go to.
So,
But yeah, but my point, ladies and gentlemen, is
4.9.
that
4.9.
yeah, I thought it was about
Yeah,
5. Yeah,
5. Yeah.
but
We were supposed to go actually. We were supposed to go this
a couple of weeks after the Vegas game, right?
the following year. We were supposed to go this past winter. We were supposed to go. So maybe we'll make it. Maybe we'll make
This
it this year. Yeah.
Yep. But our point is, the food is cold, the beer is weak. But here's the thing: we have 4 stadiums in a 20-mile radius, and the other 3 sports franchises product is a hell of a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Even the one that doesn't get funded as well, they brought a championship to the nation's capital. The women's basketball team, that stadium is the bomb over in Southeast. Then you have the Audi Stadium for the soccer team. And then you have the Nat Stadium. The food venues are good. The ticket prices are decent. I remember going in there and getting towed up because I had a $35 ticket, and I think I got 2 beers with that ticket. No, I had a $65 ticket. Then I got a 6-pack with that ticket and 2 Ben's Chili Bowl hot dogs. Come on, man. Snyder asking $100 for nosebleed tickets, man.
And remember, he got the obstructive view seats. He's got some
Obstructive view seats. Then he's
got
charging people for that.
Charging people for that. And then remember the stadium collapse. Remember they had the collapse of the one of the.
Yeah. Just bad. Bad businessman when it comes to putting a product on the field and game day experience. I was telling somebody the other day, when the tailgating is the best thing that's going on and for your game day experience at a football game, something wrong. Or a professional football game. So interesting in that aspect. Shifting gears. We talked about ownership. They got a clean house with that. The players showed up. And when they did what they should have done, which is called play the young players because we really are in a rebuild. What did the young players do when they got their opportunity against the number 2 defense in the NFL? See, to me, that's easy to see.
That was easy.
It's easy to see. Push the button. Play the young talent. See what you got. Young talent needed. They played against Dallas and beat Dallas.
That's something to play for too.
26-6. Dallas played their starters 3 3/4 quarters, 3 3/4 quarters of the game, and only scored 6 points. And they scored those 6 points in a hurry-up offense at the end of the first half. That score could have easily been 45-0 if they had schemed it right. Now, I ain't taking nothing away from Del Rayo because I thought he would have been on the chopping block first. If you'd have asked me April 1, if Del Rayo would make it through the season, I would have said no. Or if he would have been the first casualty of the season, I would have said definitely. He wasn't.
Yeah, he turned the defense around.
He turned it around.
They
They carried us.
Started poorly.
Started poorly, but they carried us. And he got it together. And what did he do? He worked with what he had.
That's what he did.
He had to play young talent.
So
on the offensive side, because they didn't draft quality people at the interior, and you had 1.5 quarterbacks. Because Wentz was an eighth of a quarterback. We saw that. He was a joke. And Taylor Heineke was 4/8 of a quarterback.
Yeah.
But the rookie is a quarterback.
Yeah.
Why do I say that, ladies and gentlemen? Because he moved within the pocket. He took what the defense gave him. He reacted in a manner. He didn't drop back and stand there. He dropped back 1,001.5. I'm gone. I see the gap. I'm gone. He threw men open.
That's what you have to do in the NFL.
It's a sample size, but everything he did against the number 2 defense in the NFL, and they were coming after him.
They were.
Despite of the scheme, because they put him in drop back situations, he did not change that offense for him. They saying they schemed it. Bullshit. They just structured it a little bit different, but it was a drop back offense. They didn't roll the pocket for that boy, nothing. And all he did was make the right decisions and throw everything on a dime and on a dart. Terry McLaurin got hit. Terry McLaurin got hit. See, the thing about quarterbacks is you got to get used to quarterbacks. And they used to talk about this with Brett Favre. They say when new rookie wide receivers came to play with Brett Favre, he would bust their chest with that football, with his accuracy and the power in his heyday. How hit Terry McLaurin in the chest with that ball on a pattern. Terry was so used to having to catch balls behind him, above him, over him. Everything was on his chest. Instantly, the ball came out of his hands quick. But because there was $40 million in cap ahead of him, we didn't see the guy to the last game of the season. And the only reason we saw him is because the backup quarterback said play him. Not because they decided to, because he was a better quarterback and it was shown in training camp. But because we fools gold.
Fools gold.
From top to bottom. And you got a lot of talent.
Yeah.
You had a lot of talent.
You got some nice young talent.
Including him. Why not give him a chance next year? I wouldn't bring nobody in. I would. You got to pay Payne if you want to keep him, right? Everybody else is paid. Payne got to get paid, right? You need another defensive back, and you need offensive linemen. You need depth on the offensive line. It's just that simple. And go through the growth process, just like Jacksonville. Oh, by the way, who's in the playoffs this year?
Yeah.
Go through the growth process. Acknowledge who you are, because everybody else in the NFL effing knows who you are. And even players have said, we know what they're going to do. They were that predictable, the way they lined up, the way they schemed, everything. Yeah. Let's talk about in this part of the entree. Let's talk about your playoff predictions. So we got some good games coming up.
Yeah, we do.
You got the Monday Night Massacre.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Monday is
Unequivocally, without a doubt, Tampa Bay is going to beat Dallas's ass.
hopefully Monday is the last game of the season for Dallas.
It is. Tom Brady is 7-0 against Dallas himself.
Yeah, he's never lost against Dallas
in the playoffs alone.
Well,
in the playoffs alone.
He's never lost against them, period. Regular season. Whenever he's played.
Or postseason.
Yeah,
Whenever he's played him. He averages 255 yards a game against them.
Yeah, and I think they said he kind of relishes beating them because I think he grew up a 49ers fan.
Yeah. So, he's from the Bay Area. Yeah.
So.
So, and we're talking about, you don't throw this word around lightly. The greatest ever to play the game.
No question. There's no question about it. Look.
At the quarterback position.
We need to stop
it's
this
playing
nonsense.
A team that's limping. They're literally limping into the playoffs because let me explain something to y'all. We beat Dallas ass. Physically on both sides of the ball because them young boys was out there laying the wood. They felt us last Sunday.
Shout out to them for not mailing it in. Nothing to really play for. They didn't mail it in. They came out there as men, as professionals, and
the players,
and they came to play. And shout out to those players.
They played NFC East bone chill because I walked outside before the game, right? And I saw the flyover. The planes were landing Andrews because I'm on that gate, the back gate of Andrews in the area that I live. The fly-by planes were landing. And I walked outside. I was like, ooh, if they play and they laid some lumber on those cowgirls who are used to playing in 78 to 80 degree temperature, climate control stadium at Jerry World, this is classic. And this is a classic January NFC East football game. Mm-hmm. I was like, the ball's going to be hard. And they can get pops, they can get turnovers. And what the hell happened? The first play punt of the game, they got the ball on like the 20, the 18 or 20 because the punter fumbled it.
Yeah.
And they made a play on the ball. And the first play from scrimmage for Sam Howell was an NFL touchdown, a dart on a crossing pattern to Terry McLaurin. They got the ball back, by the way. Terry said, I can't believe I was that open that quick, and I scored that quick because he caught him in stride. He didn't have to reach back, like I said earlier, or jump up in the air. He was in full stride, and that thing hit him perfectly. Look at the tape, ladies and gentlemen. And then all we did for 4 quarters was rock their world. So everybody that's a Dallas fans that live here in DC that's teasing us online on Facebook, y'all limping into the playoffs. Yeah. Y'all showed nothing
and they're getting ready
in that game.
And they're getting ready to get put out of the misery.
Beat.
Yeah, getting ready to get put out the misery.
And you got a Hill. They had 68 rushing yards. Or something like that. Mm-hmm. To 150 something.
Yeah, we punched them in the mouth.
All I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, all I'm saying is the NFC East is football is a physical game. We understand it's a dangerous game. It's a physical game. We understand that over the last 2 weeks with everything that's gone on. But when you are playing the game and you get cracked in the cold and you got to go over to that sideline, it ain't climate control sidelines at FedEx. We just told you the food is even cold at FedEx Field. Mm-hmm. And nasty. Mm-hmm. And that was a gray, nasty, it may have been 40 degrees tops without the wind blowing. The kickers couldn't kick. The ball was hard because it was cold and outdoors. Right. Chilly.
I'll kick him, Mr. Extra Point.
Yeah. There's did too. There's doinked. There's Mr. Extra Point. We boinked and we missed a chip shot.
Yeah.
But we had a pick six.
Yeah.
Deserved.
I love that.
We recovered a fumble in the 20 when the ball bounced off the kid's hand. That ball gets hard because we didn't have Tom Brady deflating the balls here. Y'all got to deal with that next week.
That was debunked anyway.
Yeah, I'm just saying he ain't gonna.
I got you though. Yeah, I got
Just like I ain't gonna live down what's in the appetizer, which we getting ready to get to, which is a great segue. So we got a lot of good games coming this weekend, but that game I'm looking forward to. Dallas getting ushered out. So mark it down on the calendar. I set it on January 11th,
Monday night,
2022.
Yes, Monday night
at 5:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can count that as an L for the Cowboys.
Dallas's season will come to an end Monday night.
Yeah, they playing Tom Brady in the playoffs. Come on, first round. We did that last year, and we were about the same level of team because y'all had a weaker schedule than we had this year, even. But you know, they give Dallas light schedules. They ain't had a hard schedule in a minute because they want to show them on TV and showcase them. Jerry Jones has that machine working good.
Yeah, he does.
You can't tell me he ain't got a scheduling guy and all that types of. I'm going conspiracy theory on it, but because it's Jerry Jones. Come on, guys.
Jerry Jones. Yeah.
What did he say to the guy in the thing? This thing.
Robert Kraft.
Y'all understand the balls this guy got. What did he say?
Yeah, Robert Kraft.
What did he say to Robert Kraft? He don't. You ain't got to say the curse word because I know you don't curse. Didn't he say don't F with me?
Yeah, don't F with me. That's what Jerry said. Jerry
So if he said that to another billionaire,
to another big dog,
that's how much an alpha dog. What are you gonna say to a scheduler?
Yeah, he said that to another big dog. So that just shows
He
you.
said it to a big dog. So what are you gonna say to a scheduler of NFL schedules with his brain? Come on, man. Come on, man. So a lot of good games this weekend.
Yeah.
We're in for a roller coaster ride of a season. We ended on a high note with good players showing their professionalism despite a piss poor coaching staff and organization. We have some quality people here. The culture is made by the people who buy into being better. And we have leaders on this team. Mm-hmm. You haven't heard anything crazy about off the field antics here in Washington, not because of Rivera, but because of the quality of people we have here as Redskins. Now, I can attribute that to Rivera because he's picking these people as of late, but he inherited a lot of them. Mm-hmm. He's turned the roster over to a degree, but the skilled players he didn't bring here. He didn't draft Terry McLaurin, I don't believe. I think that was what's his name? That was the alcohol.
Right, the leader, John Allen.
Mm-hmm.
On the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Payne that you talked about, I don't think he drafted any of those guys.
Right. So with that being the case, going to the dessert. I gotta hang my head low, bro. Y'all gonna get a kick out of this. Y'all gonna get a kick out of this. Today is January 11th, 2023. I've been running around all day like a chicken with my head cut off, and I set myself up for failure. It won't ever happen again, but that's too little too late. So let me first publicly state this in my fuck up. Happy anniversary to my wife, even though I forgot it. That's where we're starting this dessert. How do you come back from not remembering it's your anniversary? I don't know yet. I haven't figured it out yet because I'm recording the podcast to avoid my wife right now till I figure out what I'm going to get her. But the love of my life, I got up early this morning and left. I've been doing running around, had to run some chores and do some things. And I've had a lot on my mind. I'm back in school. I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you the situation because you should never forget your anniversary. That's the age-old thing. But what do you do? How do you come back from that? You can't. So I teased my wife this morning about stuff. She went out and got my gift and everything, adjusted what she was getting me and everything. She said she knew I probably forgot because I didn't wish her happy anniversary. I'm usually candy, flowers, card, first thing in the morning on the bed, all that. I got up out the bed this morning, did a meeting with my team overseas, came downstairs, like, I'm heading out. I got to do this, and this. Got to get my tire checked, got to do this. I'm running to Annapolis to check on the job and do this and da. Had lunch with you, Reggie.
Mm-hmm.
Playing the show with you, came to your house.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't think about nothing. Saw the date, talking about calendar, asked you what day it was. We were talking about, so I was like, what's the date?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, it's January 11th. Nothing. 1/1. 19 was when we got married 4 years ago today. Got to do something when I leave out of this podcast and out this live stream. But I want to acknowledge my lovely wife, Tracy Fisher, my rock, my everything. She's been my support through this season with me being in the entrepreneurial space, going from unemployment to entrepreneur to gaining income, all that type stuff, looking for a new job, changing my career. She supported me. She supported me in everything. And we are a team. I support her. I love her. All jokes aside, in all seriousness, I am honored and happy to be married to her. And I forgot. So, ladies, that's listening to this podcast or will see this podcast as it restreams, y'all can chime in and tell me what I need to do over the next 3 weeks with a limited budget, because I'm going to have to go big today with little money. And but we know it's not about the money, it's about the time. So I need to figure out what I'm gonna do this evening. But yeah, it's my anniversary, dog. 4 years marriage.
Congratulations.
8 years together, 4 years marriage.
Wow.
8 years going on 9 years, I believe. Yeah. We got together in 2015. Yeah.
Yeah. That's wonderful, man. Wonderful. She's a wonderful woman.
She good people. She makes me want to be a better man. She tolerates my bullshit. She knows how to put me in my place, which nobody else on this planet can do. And she got half the money and all the punani. So where am I going? Nowhere. I'm happy. And as I was telling somebody else this morning, I have a real partner for the first time in my life. I jokingly tell her with her, in my crass jokes that she's my deaf buddy. I was like, I ain't going nowhere. Truly deaf to do us part. We deaf buddies. But I have a real partner. And I've been married before, so I know when it doesn't work. But this works. And I am so happy that we have gotten to our 4th anniversary through all the ups and downs. Been a lot more ups than downs. Maybe from my perception, she might say differently, but she's still here with me. She ain't kicked me out. She gave me a couple of slant eyes that looked like she wanted that could stab over the 4 years, but for the most part, she's always come home. So I'm thankful for having that partner, because that's a rarity.
That's a blessing. Yeah, it's a blessing.
And it's hard. In these days, these days are times where people's minds are everywhere. So yeah, we've cranked a long show here today, man. I wanted to do the intro music. I'm heading back to our old stuff, the original soundtrack. This is also a beat of mine, but that first beat that we did today, that's from my repertoire as well. And this one right here, the Order Up intro, is one of my originals too. So, Reg Dog,
Yeah.
brother, another one in the books.
Another one in the books.
I'm happy to say, you know, this is our second show in 2023. I want y'all guys to give us some feedback and let us know what we're doing. If you like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's DMV's Order Up with Reggie White, Rayu Beats and Reggie White. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on all your podcast feeds. You know, download, tell a friend. We got a whole lot to come. Look for our upcoming commercial. It's coming out soon on the internet. And it's your boys here on Order Up. Yeah, man.
Good stuff,
We did
brother.
like an hour, 25 minutes.
Yeah, brother. Your bro about to jump on dinner.
All right, man. Let me
Good stuff, bro. Good stuff.
Because I ate all that food. I'm full, man.
Oh, yeah.
Full. I don't want to go out to dinner, but I got to figure out what you.
That's what's up.
We
That's
can
what's
down
up.
there and see. And
All
Teresa's computer crashed, so I got to take her one of these Mac Minis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me
that's
run
what's
and
up.
do that, and then
Okay,
we'll get
bro.
up.
All right.
All
Tell her I said what's up.
All right, we'll do.
All right,
Peace.
bet.